Captain Mark Stone talks to reporters that he and the Golden Knights are itching to get back on the ice to prepare for defense of the Cup title.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from smoky Las Vegas. Looks like Chernobyl out there today. Thanks for sending over your smoke, California. Okay, thanks for making us your first listen as well. You can find us wherever you get your podcast. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights, and we are on Twitter. We are on X, at Locked On VGK, at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G.
Yeah, X, Twitter, sure.
I can't
Can we start WTF now, or should we just wait?
Yeah.
Are we Xing? Are we tweeting? What's the lingo? I honestly, God, don't know what I'm supposed to say now.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's WTX. That could be today.
Okay.
So VGK captain, right? Chris, Mark Stone had an additional 12 hours with the Cup. I want to start here, and then we'll talk more about.
It's so rigged. He got the Cup more than anyone else. It's so rigged, Tony.
Well, he's the captain.
Now it's okay.
We'll talk about some of the things that he did here with charity and just getting the Cup out there and making people feel good. But he and his teammates are getting the itch now, he says, to return to work as they look for the repeat of the Stanley Cup championship. And he basically told NHL.com this summer has been great, but it's basically time to get back to work. And Stone said that he and his VGK teammates are getting the itch to get back into the gym and back on the ice. Do we know when most of the players will be returning for team workouts or when they'll arrive back here in Las Vegas?
We know the first activity is the rookie camp / face-off happening early September, the 14th through the 16th or 17th, or that basically that Friday through Sunday or Monday, or however that's going to shake out. After that, I believe the camp itself opens up not too long, the regular Golden Knights camp. What you'll start seeing is, I just remember going back a couple seasons ago, I went to City National in late August to the store for something, probably a gift for Allie for her birthday, my daughter. And I remember just one random day seeing a ton of Golden Knights on the ice, in an unscheduled, activity, if you will, just out there getting loosened up, doing some scrimmages and things like that. So the players, you might start seeing them randomly as early as now, just being on the ice every now and then, just, getting a skate in, getting that workout in and things like that. So it's a short summer, like you said, and the players do have the itch to get back going again. And, you wonder if they can keep the same motivation. Like what's greater, the motivation to win your first Stanley Cup or to win your second Stanley Cup, or in, Martinez's situation, his fourth Stanley Cup, or Pietrangelo, his third Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that's crazy. And winning, as we know, is contagious. And VGK says that they cannot wait to return. And Stone said a lot of the guys are saying that winning the Stanley Cup is addicting. So he feels it. And we see this in sports where they get that first taste of a championship and teams just do not want to let it go.
No, and the Golden Knights, this is where, and we'll hit on this later, but this is where their age and experience, I think, is going to help them. They're not a young team in this sense. They're partying, they're doing their thing and all of that, but it feels like the college frat parties, if you will, have relaxed since the Cup started its tour basically across North America. You don't see, we still have yet to see a crazy celebration that even compares to any of the pool parties that the Stanley Cup made an appearance in, or any of the restaurants or the local clubs or anything like that. There's no real, we still haven't seen anyone with their shirt off next to the Stanley Cup or anything like that. So, it seems like the boys got out of their system, if you will, right after they won the cup, and they're having their moments. They're enjoying it with family and friends and charity, and wherever they decide to take the cup and things like that. So it feels like, in a sense, they've already turned the page to next season, and we'll see if they can remain motivated. And this is where Cassidy was able to dangle the carrot. Hey, boys, you missed the playoffs last season. You got a new coach in town. Rah, rah, rah. Go team, go. And now everyone's won a Stanley Cup. Now they've achieved their ultimate goal. Cassidy, from the start of the year, I want to get my name on the cup. Okay, your name's on the cup. Now what are you going to do?
And you know that he's addicted to winning. And we know that. So
listen, they're athletes. They got egos. Everyone's got an ego.
He'll want to get them back here for a repeat. And he just, he won't stop. He's relentless. And Stone, by the way, had 9 of his 24 points in the playoffs against the Panthers. So he played well late. The 2 back surgeries in 2 seasons. Will the Golden Knights be cautious in the manner that they use Mark Stone? I was thinking about this yesterday. During the course of the regular season, will he get some days off? In between, or what? How will they handle him to make sure that they preserve his energy and maybe his back isn't as sore as it could be?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to focus on Mark Stone for a second, maintenance days is the obvious answer as far as practices go. There's so many conflicting
reports.
We don't
have load management in hockey. Come on.
And that's interesting, and I'm glad that we don't, because it's just the worst thing in the world to the NBA, because it always happens on the national TV games. Like, it always happens on the national TV games. So it's like the players have this unwritten brotherhood, if you will, of going on and just simply saying, "Hey, we're big national TV game. LBJ, you're going to sit. Steph Curry, you're going to sit." And the Spurs coach, he was the worst about it, Popovich, right? Yeah, he was anyway. But shifting gears here, I don't think you're going to see like Stone being a healthy scratch randomly or anything like that. But you could definitely see a lot more caution in the practices. You could certainly see if there's any reason for him to sit out a game where it's not necessarily a load management thing, but they say, oh, there's an upper body issue, he's going to sit out tonight and stuff like that. Stone, I believe he's either, I don't got the number in front of me, but I believe he is either missed slightly more than an entire season in the last 2 regular seasons. So his body, as weird as it sounds, hasn't taken a lot of punishment. It's been under the knife a couple of times. That's not going to help things at all. But going back to conflicting reports, Elliot Friedman had that article that came out just weeks after the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup. The concern was cap circumvention, and that multiple teams had questioned the NHL and said, hey, what is up with Mark Stone? Why does this keep randomly happening? So the NHL investigated. They, again, using Elliot Friedman's words, they went hard at the Golden Knights, requesting medical records for Mark Stone. The Golden Knights produced everything and said, hey, here's the deal. Here's what's the problem. WTF off afterwards. That conversation goes. And then basically the league concluded there's no wrongdoing. But a little more into that article, Elliot Friedman said, the reality is Mark Stone has a bad back and this might keep happening. But the same article also said the Golden Knights believe his last surgery corrected the major issue. So basically, long story longer, we have no idea what's going to happen with Mark Stone's back next year.
Back to Stone getting the additional 12 hours because he's the captain. So he had the Stanley Cup last week for 12 extra hours, but he put it to good use.
Yes.
He, his wife, and his dad spent the extra time by visiting a children's hospital in Canada, which he said the Stanley Cup lit up the children's faces. So that is really cool. And I didn't realize this when Stone was with the Wheat Kings, as everyone is, he billeted with the former NHL player Ryan White, and his son was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. And that was his inspiration. Now he says he has a child, and he just wants to make sure, obviously, you want nothing more than to have a healthy child. But he really likes to go out and make these other children smile. And he's also doing that here in the Las Vegas area.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Stanley Cup is going to, help a lot of people, find hope and feel better. And Mark Stone, being who he is, the captain that he is going to do everything he can to spread that. And this goes to the Golden Knights' general involvement in the community. You do see a lot of, I don't know if goodwill is the right way to say that, but you do see a lot of involvement in the charity, of course, or in the community. Pardon me. You'll start with Riley Smith, the softball game, all the money that raises, all the stories that you see throughout the year from camps and stuff like that, from one-day hockey clinics, from the Golden Knights just trying to expand the outreach, if you will, of people that are going to take an interest into the team. And being involved in the community is certainly, it's a pillar, right? It's definitely a pillar. And I what does it say at City National? I stumbled on this a couple of weeks ago as well. I think it says community service is a contact sport or something along those lines. And basically they're instilling in all the employees that work upstairs at City National that it's not just about, wearing your Golden Knight shirt or your pin and going out and being all high and mighty, that you are a member of the Golden Knights, you're a member of the Golden Knights. It's about doing more and stuff like that. And, who better to set that example, of course, than Captain Mark Stone right now.
So Brady Tkachuk's wedding was last week. Of course, I checked out the Instagram of Matthew Tkachuk and
Matthew Tkachuk's wife. Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Correct. And no one was sent to the penalty box. So everything seemed to be.
They should have had a ref there, Tony. They should have had just randomly, not talking to anyone, just like a ref randomly walking around carrying a Labatt Blue in his hand, hanging out. That would have been fun.
I had a pretty wild wedding over this weekend was Mitch Marner.
I saw those.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, he's I mean, Toronto, they get a lot of time in the offseason every year. They don't play too deep into April and May too often. So, they got some steam to blow right now.
VGK winning the Cup cost Las Vegas and the state of Nevada sportsbooks millions. We'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better place to get in on the action than at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 back at bonus bets. If your first bet does not win, just go to FanDuel.com and join today. Don't miss your chance to snag a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. FanDuel, the official partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Each and every Friday, we do WTF. Today, we're doing WTX because we don't like the transition of Twitter. And, of course, make sure that you go and subscribe on the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. And find us, again, wherever you get your podcast.
Just find us. We're everywhere. We're everywhere.
We are pretty much everywhere, and especially my man, Chris Golick, Vegas Hockey Now. And I realize that you may have touched on this on Vegas Hockey Now last week, but the Golden Knights, when they won the Stanley Cup, Chris, it caused Nevada sportsbooks, sob, to lose $6.6 million in hockey wagers. It's substantial. It really is, because, right, along with the growth of hockey, along with the growth of youth hockey, there's a growth in degenerate NHL sports bettors.
I'm trying to get some numbers. I would love to highlight some of some of the winning bets and things like that. But
they started to track hockey betting, they say, 3 years ago. And this was for the month of June, losing $6.6 million. I would wager that when VGK first entered the league, they probably didn't get $6.6 million in bets for the National Hockey League, probably for a year. 6.6
I'll say they got it for a year, but definitely not as aggressive of a handle, if you will, down the stretch. I mean, we were joking in season one, me and my VGK nerd Twitter messenger group that we joke about. It was always VGK and over, VGK minus the goal and a half, and take the over if the sportsbook would let you parlay that. And then you fast forward to this season, it was for the final third of the season and then the playoffs, it was VGK second period, VGK second period, VGK second period. That was certainly a very profitable endeavor. I'm going to put some numbers together. I just got to find a way to dig them out. But like you said, Tony, this was the biggest loss since they started tracking this back in 2020. So the total handle for Nevada sportsbooks in the hockey category was $323 million. A $6.6 million loss, it only represents a 2% overall loss. So when you look at the grand scheme of things, not that big of a deal. 6.6 million spread across 25 different sports books. You know, they're going to be okay, folks. Don't worry. They're not going to be turning the lights off anytime soon. And this is where if they would have had a full month of variance to catch up on, of course, the books would not have lost $6.6 million. But the interesting thing I take from this is it just gives you an example of how small the margins are. Oh my God, they lost $6.6 million. That's the headline. But if we come out and say the sports books lost 2.2% of their handle, everyone's like, that's not a very good headline. And sports books, I mean, the margins are pretty slim. The job of the sports book is to put a number out there that tries to attract two-way wagering, and then obviously the sports books lock up the vig, the juice in the middle. So if it's an even proposition on both sides, every $110 you wager, you get back $100. They hope that Tony wagers $110 that the Golden Knights will not win the Stanley Cup. They hope I will wager $110 that they will win the Stanley Cup. They'll pay me Tony's money, but they'll keep $10 for themselves for the effort. That's how sportsbooks hope to operate. In this circumstance, they just couldn't put a line out there that VGK fans were going to fade on the Florida Panthers because, I mean, it didn't matter. It didn't matter in season one either.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bum series for the Panthers, and so obviously a lot of folks loaded up in June on VGK. I'm so
plus
curious.
The future bets too throughout the year that came through also.
Right. And dudes like us, dudes have always been gambling degenerates. Women, I'm just curious the percentage of women that are betting on the National Hockey League since VGK's been here. In our state, I really am, because it's just the growth of what we've seen in hockey. I think we can also see equate to sports betting. And I'm curious how that breaks down. I really am.
No, and that's an
323
interesting
million.
I got a couple
June,
of contacts. I got a couple of contacts within the sports books, locally and nationally, if you will, where I can maybe get some of that information from. But I mean, cool. The growth of hockey is apparent, and it's not just degenerate men, to use your words, not my words, Tony, your words, but it's my words too. I mean, listen, I'm pounding baseball daily right now. I should start a new group for that because I'm doing pretty well actually. But the growth of what the Golden Knights have done for the community as far as growing hockey. And yes, it's not just men out there, it's women out there taking the interest, and not for the betting side, of course, but obviously all the new kids, all the new interest and everything like that. And, everyone is going to, from a business perspective, everyone's going to find a way to cash in on it. I mean, geez, let's start with myself here. If the Golden Knights aren't here, me and you aren't doing this show. I'm not writing for Vegas Hockey Now. I mean, it's, it's amazing how the Golden Knights coming here, what's happened. I mean, it's not just about the Vegas Golden Knights now. It's the Las Vegas Aces, the Aviators, the Lights, the Raiders, the Athletics. Like, a little advice I was talking, little advice I gave to my son the other day. We were talking, don't be afraid to have a vision and to act on it, because you never know where it might take you one of these days. Like, all of a sudden Bill Foley has a National Hockey League team in Las Vegas that is financially successful, and now look what it's done.
On top of it all, I'm not sure how they can attribute VGK winning, right? So we talked about the gambling aspect, but in addition to winning the cup, a report came out, I think late last week, in which officials said that the Golden Knights run contributed to higher visitation numbers in the month of June, up 2.8% over last year. But for the Florida series, I don't recall a ton of Florida fans coming to town. Did people just come to town to hang out, be around hockey and VGK? I don't know how they could pinpoint that, but they are pretty good.
Was it for them? It was for the month of June, though, they said?
Yeah, for the month of June.
there were not
Yeah.
many Panther fans here. Like,
The number
even
seems a little bit false to attribute.
that was the Panthers was, in my opinion, the least populated series from the visiting team's fans. Winnipeg travels pretty well. Edmonton, of course, traveled well. Dallas was weird because that was the first two
EDC.
games were EDC weekend, and then by the
Which is
time
so
Dallas came
stupid.
back, the series was pretty much in the freezer. So I mean, maybe Bill Foley's patting himself on the back that the road fans couldn't get in.
I also want to see numbers on the percentage of fans, right, that attend games, live sporting events in our city, the percentage of fans that are going to these games because you like the live action, that are betting on those games because you're watching them live.
So you're talking about people that are actually there in-game betting and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I also wanted to do a poll of the amount of media members that have action on the games. It's legal. Is it ethical? It's a whole that's another story, right? And maybe thus we have cheering in press boxes. You're quiet. Wow, he's mum. Also, this past weekend, shut up, Tony. Also, this past weekend, VGK's name now is etched on the Campbell Cup. So it finally made it there. I don't know if you caught that.
I did see that.
And over
I'm
weekend,
talking now.
Oh, welcome back.
Hi.
And so over the weekend as well, I think Bill Foley had the cup up in wine country. No photos, no paparazzi. I didn't see anything. Did you?
Maybe that was the crazy party where shirts came off.
Oh, there's no doubt. Coming up next, what age is considered old in the National Hockey League players? Is it over 30? We talk about some of the aging Golden Knights on the roster
On the rocks.
on the rocks. And also, you didn't like the sports betting. Yeah, that's where I got fumbled.
I loved it.
The sports betting question. We'll talk about the aging Golden Knights when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights, and check out Vegas Hockey Now. Their man, Chris Golick, every day? Is it?
Every day, 2 articles a day.
2 articles a day.
2 articles a day.
Burning it up there, burning up the keys.
This is a tough time right now, but this is, like I tell my editor, this is my boot camp right now, trying to learn the lingo and the ways and all that. So once the season starts, I'll be a lot more comfortable because it's weird. Like, it's not just as simple you log on and start pounding keys. It's fun though. I love it. It's fun. Just a challenge, but it's fun.
What VGK aging players concern you the most, Chris? When I went down the roster, okay, so this is why we keep saying they should definitely unload Alec Martinez. What is he at 36 years old, right? He's the senior citizen of this team. Then you have Petro at 33 years old, Marchessault at 32. It's going to be so interesting to see how they handle his contract negotiations during this season or during the offseason as he enters free agency. You have McNabb is getting up there. Leonard, is he still on the team? 33. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still
Leonard
is
Panda
still
in
around
there.
right
I
now.
threw the Panda in there for you.
I mean, why not? It doesn't hurt. So, I mean, listen, there's a few things happening right now, and I've hit on this in a couple of recent Vegas Hockey Now articles. I'm calling them the 30-somethings of the team, right? And just a general stat line, first of all, average team or average age of NHL rosters opening day versus where they finished in the 22-23 regular season. So the Golden Knights were the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th oldest team in the NHL on opening night with an average age of 27.8. You would think that number went up a lot because of, Jonathan Quick joining throughout the season and stuff like that, and just some of the players they did.
How old is Kessel? 42?
It pretty much. But the average age of the Golden Knights only went up actually 0.3 to 28.1, and they moved from 11th to actually they stayed 11th. It looks like overall. So I thought they would have been a little bit older than that. But when you tell me they're the 11th oldest team in the NHL, it's not as alarming to me. But now the concern, you did mention both these players earlier. The 2 oldest players on the Golden Knights are is the top defensive unit, Martinez and Pietrangelo. So there's a little bit of a concern there. And if there's someone who's going to possibly be on a pitch count, load management, it's Martinez, 100%. Dude's a warrior. There's not enough adjectives you can say about the good that he brings to the team in the National Hockey League. But man, he's I think he joked about, someone made a comment, because I think he had a birthday not too long ago, and he said the age is what hurts more than blocking the shots. So I thought that was I thought that was kind of funny.
You know what I'd like to see is a graphic that has the places where he blocked all those shots.
Oh, a heat map.
Yeah. So
that
like
would be really cool,
chest,
huh?
His head, his legs. Yeah, I think that would be
a heat
to
map
show how much
shots. That is so cool.
That would be something that I would want to see, and it would just show just how he really does put out every night, and he's the consummate team player.
Yeah,
but I still say if they can get rid of his salary, they should.
The only way that Alec Martinez will lose his salary, being on the Golden Knights books, if you will, is if season 7 doesn't go as planned and Alec Martinez can be shipped to someone right at the deadline that has a shot to make a run for a Stanley Cup. So the hope is that does not happen. The reality is it might happen. And then that's when, someone like Marchessault, who also has an expiring contract after the following season, these are realities, folks, that you have to acknowledge as fans. And it's our job to remind you of the harsh realities of being around a professional sports team, because who saw the Riley Smith trade coming? Back to the topic here. Here's the 30-somethings on the team. Mark Stone, William Karlsson is going to be 30 now. Marchessault's 32. Chandler Stevenson will turn 30 during the season. Interesting topic there, of course, for how things are going to shake out for him. Pietrangelo, Martinez, Braden McNabb, you highlighted him. And even Ben Hutton is 30 years old right now. So you look at all this, and a lot of those players are the most important parts of the team, or at least a good chunk of them. So, once you hit 30, or in football, once you hit about 26, but in hockey, once you hit about 30, the concern, the breakdown does start to happen. That's just how Father Time works. And you add that onto the fact these are NHL players. Alec Martinez is blocking all these shots and everything, and there's going to be some wear down. Now, if there's a positive, the Golden Knights have been on the wrong side of injury variance for the last 2 seasons. Is it bad luck? Possibly. Is it because of all these 30-year-olds? More than likely. So will the Golden Knights get on the better side of injury variance with all these 30-somethings? I don't know.
Do we ever see in hockey where players restructure their contracts?
I don't think you're allowed to. I could be wrong.
I was just curious because, like in the NFL, Jacoby Myers just restructured his contract so that Marcus Peters could get paid.
Are these Raiders?
Yeah, they're Raiders, okay. Of course. I'm trying to keep it local, bro.
That's fine.
So, but
unless they're on my fantasy team, I can't name them. So that's cool.
So they can't probably in the NHL.
I don't think you can. I think we've been yelled at on YouTube for that before, but I could be wrong. I'm about 90% sure your contract is your contract.
So you're saying in the NHL 30 is maybe the ceiling?
Okay, is it the ceiling as far as like your peak? Is that if you're saying it like that, absolutely. I think that's a fair number to throw out, anywhere from 28 to 32. I mean, some of these players do find the fountain of youth, and they really do come on late. The Silver Knights just signed, a 27-year-old who's technically, just a big storyline about how he's been around the AHL. I forgot the player's name. Very unprepared for this one.
No. You're speaking Silver Knights. I thought I saw Sheldon Rampell is like close to 30.
No, but they signed someone. They signed someone in the offseason.
I know, but they have some players that are.
Yeah, Rampell is up there, and he's a lifetime AHLer. They've tried to bring him.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. It's that's pretty tough. Okay, but so you're talking that they signed someone who's a little bit older.
Yeah, he's a little bit older. It's there was a baseball movie that came out, not Trouble with the Curve. I forgot what it was, but basically it was like a 40-year-old rookie or something, or a 35-year-old rookie, or 30, whatever it was. So maybe
was that the Satchel Paige story?
No, No, it was God. I'm usually better with movies, but I'm not right now. This coffee is cold, and I got to drink more. And I don't know, but yeah, the Golden Knights, they got a lot of 30 somethings. We'll see. We'll see how things shake out with them next season. There you go, Tony. There you go.
This has been your typical Monday show where we're just fumbling around.
This is smoke. It smells like a charboiled hamburger outside. It smells like a barbecue.
It's awful. It's awful. And I hope it doesn't reach, the levels that we saw like in New York and on the East Coast from the Canadian fires and what have you.
Yeah. And you hope everyone's safe, obviously. And, the people that are out there, trying to, get this thing out. So, clowns like me and you that are complaining about being a little smoky out here. They're the ones that got the real work right now. We're over here. We got it easy. All we got to do is deal with this for a little bit. And I think it could possibly rain next couple of days. So that should, now we're weather. We should have a weather segment, Tony. We should get a weather graphic. Although I can't get our branding graphics up, but yeah.
Easiest job on the planet is a meteorologist in Las Vegas. It'll be hot today.
Me and Amanda, my wife, we joke about all that. And we had an anniversary in the household yesterday. Apparently we made it 12 years according to Facebook. So that's the over definitely
Facebook
hit, folks.
Official.
The over hits. The over hits. Yeah, the Facebook official.
You definitely married up.
Oh no, I definitely went up a class, no doubt about that. No doubt. I'm definitely a horse that's racing 4 classes up, and I'm just trying to finish the race at this point.
And yeah, you were a claimer at one point. Right.
Oh, definitely. I was a cheap claimer. I was a real cheap claimer. So all right, let's tell this. Here's a story. We got time. It's Monday. We got time. So hey, Amanda, I'm telling the story how we met right now on the podcast. Okay, so I think
a pot I hear? A pan?
I think I heard an uh-oh. And I don't know if I heard or slamming or she just swore in front of the kids. Okay. So all right, so I think it's a Friday night. We're late in Rockford, Illinois. There's this little coffee shop. What's the coffee shop called? Perkins. Yes, dang it, screwed that one up. So me, my buddy, and his friend, that's another story in itself right there. But we'll say me, my buddy, and his friend were at Perkins 11:30, and see these 2 girls come walking in, and they sit literally at the table right next to us. So I don't think they had a menu. I forgot how exactly I made the pitch, but I literally just got up and sat down next to him and just started talking. Something I normally don't do. I'm like 23 at the time, 24. So maybe a little more encouragement. Wasn't drinking or anything, though. Amanda, on the other hand, she had been drinking, and she was on the rebound. She wasn't happy. So she started giving me a sob story about something. So me being who I was at the time, I made her a bet. I bet her $10 that she could not walk a straight line because she had been, drinking a little bit. So I find the waitress and I grab like a piece of like masking tape and I put like a 15-foot like line down. And there's people and they're watching this and we're rooting around and stuff. And
it's a Saturday night at Perkins.
It's a Friday or Saturday night at Perkins. Probably a Friday night, whatever.
Was Tiger Woods there trying to pick up the waitress?
No, I don't.
Oh no, wrong Perkins.
Fair enough. So she walks. I think she faltered the first time. I had to get an independent judge who said she faltered, but she did it the second time. And then here's where it gets better.
You bought her pancakes.
No.
Oh.
I got her MySpace information. I got her MySpace information and I sent her a message on MySpace the next day. And then here's where it gets a little better here and we can take the show away. So I was
a great story.
I was in the Schaumburg. We were our first date, quote unquote, was going to be in the Schaumburg area. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for my Illinois friends, when you're heading down 90, heading to the 290 interchange and all of that.
Did she become one of your top friends on MySpace?
She definitely made my top 14.
Okay.
I paid for the expanded version. I don't know. I'm making that up. Top 8, but yeah, she made it there. But so I told her the way to find. We were meeting at Woodfield, a big mall. We were going to have dinner and see a movie or something, whatever it was. So I tell her when you see the big blue building, it's an IKEA. Big blue IKEA. You cannot miss an IKEA, folks. When you get the big blue building, turn right. She missed the big blue building. So I thought, but you
saw William Carlson there. You saw Carlson there, I'm sure.
Why did I see William Carlson at IKEA?
Eating Swedish meatballs.
Okay, Tony, good job. So so happy anniversary, Amanda.
Happy anniversary.
Embarrass the crap out of you, and I'll definitely make sure all your.
I love that story, though. That's a great story. And
I got her on the rebound. I pick him right.
Former man Chris Golick
out there. Yeah, because I think the cat just got thrown.
For Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We appreciate you all tuning in and listening to our stories and embracing our stories as well.
Embrace the chaos, folks.
We'll see.
It's July 31st. Deal with it.
Deal with it. Wow. All of a sudden, come August, early August, the weather you could feel a little change in the
smoke.
weather.
It's a smoke. It's getting in my head.
Make sure that you subscribe on the YouTube channel. You could see the shenaniganers right there.
Shenaniganers. I like that too. This is
and
good.
make
This
sure
is a good end.
and make sure that you can identify who's who on the show. Because the other day you couldn't. Okay.
How does no one catch that? WTM. What the Monday? No one reached out to us. I don't think anyone watched the Friday show.
WTX.
Whatever.
We'll see you again on Wednesday right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Take care.